is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
I'm Brent Jackson.
Brent, today our guest is David Bediz from Keller Williams. David, how long have you been in the business?
It'll be 20 years in
20 years.
next year.
Yeah, so like
19.
similar amount of time. Because I've known your face and your business for like from day one too.
That's right. I feel like we've all been in it around the same time.
But at the same
roughly.
time, we've been in about 20 years, and I've always, you're always in our sandbox. We're always kind of in the
Right.
same play space there.
I know I've been up against both of you in listing competitions.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
we've
several
won some,
times.
we've lost some. At the end of the day,
That's
it's
right.
it's a small community.
That's right.
At the end of the day, Brent still wins.
Right. At the end of the day, Brent wins.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming down.
Thanks.
So tell us how you got started in real estate. 20-year career is a long career.
Yeah.
You're still here doing it. And like I saw some other stuff from your email back to us that like you've expanded your business that I didn't even know about. But let's just start with the origin story and let's talk about that.
Sure. So I went to Duke and I did graphic design, web design. I did my first web page in 1998, I think. Had email back in high school, which was kind of cool.
You're a basketball fan too?
Yeah, we camped out for the games. We were the Cameron Crazies.
That's
It was
awesome.
a lot of fun. I've kind of lost touch since graduating with the whole like athletic stuff and a lot of my friends from there. But
So you were there like during Grant, was it Grant?
it was right
Grant
after
Hill?
Grant Hill.
Grant, yeah.
And right after Christian Leitner too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's a fun time.
it was great. Yeah. The football program was not great, but now I hear they're doing great. So
Right.
things come around. Anyway, did web design and graphic design in college, and I love it. I still do. But coming up here to do graphic design, I had a great job. It was during kind of the beginning of the .com boom era, so there was a lot of demand for it, and they were giving away perks like free cell phones and free car washes and free lunches and all that kind of stuff. So it was a fun time to be a web designer. But you do your 200th association website, and you're kind of over it. And meanwhile, I'd bought a condo right here, a block away from where we are right now.
So is this like late 90s?
No. This is 2000 when I moved here.
Okay.
And bought a condo, and in just 3 years, it tripled in value. And so I moved out of it, bought a townhouse over on 10th Street, when that was kind of the Wild West. And it doubled in value in about 3 years as well. And I'm like, I've been making more money sitting on real estate than I have sitting at a desk and having a lot more fun with it. So I thought I'd just get my license to buy and sell real estate for myself. But within a month of having my license, I had 2 clients under contract. It just kind of happened.
Where'd
And
your clients come from?
One of them came from a relo lead, and I still talk to the daughter who bought to this day. The other one was a friend of one of my coworkers at the web design company. So what happened was I realized that like real estate is not just buying and selling real estate. It's also, as an agent, it's teaching, it's helping, it's counseling, it's all those fun things that we like to do. It makes the job, different every day. It's every deal is a challenge in a different way, and they're all challenges that I happen to like a lot. So I really haven't looked back since then.
What brokerage were you affiliated with when you first started?
Actually, just 2 blocks away from here, Coldwell Banker
Mm-hmm.
on 17th Street, and I can't speak highly enough of my broker, Kevin McDuffie. Helped get me on my feet, really encouraged me. Even though we're not working in the same brokerage now, he's still a big support for me and has helped me kind of, forge my way in this business.
Any like mentors? Was he a mentor to you when you first started?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he still is in a way. He's a mentor. I also have to give props to Brandon Green, who was my broker at KW when I first moved over there. Helped me kind of see real estate in this whole different way and see my position in a different way too, where I could actually not just help and achieve success with clients, but also to help other agents to achieve success of their own too. And then Bowman Keedy, who is still the owner of our brokerage and majority owner, and he's got his hands in every kind of cookie jar. I think he owns like 60 businesses or part owner, including a soccer team. And he's like developing multi-unit housing here and in Boston. I mean, he's really kind of this force in real estate and in our area and others too.
So maybe we segue right into that because maybe it's from Bo, but You put in one of your questions here that you've kind of just expanded out from just being a real estate agent. Do you kind of want to elaborate on what and why?
Well, I'm very entrepreneurial by spirit and very curious. I love learning and just trying new things, kind of breaking the mold whenever I can. And during COVID, I realized, the first 6 months of COVID, I thought that we would never do real estate again, or at least not for years. And I thought my business might very well just crumble to pieces. And so it scared me into thinking, okay, I need to be a little bit more diversified. I didn't get far off from real estate because lending is pretty closely tied to that. But I thought if I had a little bit of a foothold in the loan business too, because we're so adjacent and we do help our clients at that point where they're choosing a lender. And I was approached with this sales pitch that sounded pretty good of owning a franchise of a national loan brokerage business. And so I thought I'd give it a shot. And to be honest, I don't regret it. I will say it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. A lot.
Well, I was going to say, I don't want to get too into the weeds with that, but to me, that sounds kind of daunting. Just knowing what the day-to-day is of being a real estate agent and trying to do that at a high level, but then also doing a lending business.
Right.
What does that entail, though? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Well, are you actually doing loans and originating, or are you just passing the buck to somebody else?
The main reason I did it is because a close friend of mine who is a client and a lender that I used to work with approached me right about the same time and said, I am done. Bank of America has treated me like garbage. She had 13 years of experience in the business. She was out. She's like, where can I go be a lender? Who do you know? Who should I go to? And I'm like, well, I was just thinking about could I really do this loan brokerage business? And here you are, 13-year veteran. You could just literally, drop in place and start working. So that was the idea. She is wonderful, and she's done a lot of the loans that we've done. I've also gotten another loan officer. So I've not actually originated any loans myself, but I've managed the process. And, it's challenging. The regulatory oversight in lending is unbelievable. There's so much paperwork. There's so many reports you have to file. It's so much different than real estate. And that's the part that kills me because I am not – I can obviously do paperwork, for a contract. Sure. That's not what I like to do, and I don't like to do accounting and bookkeeping. So this is where I feel the pain.
So it's a question I have to ask, but disclosure, disclaimer, right. Is there any
Sure.
rules? You could go to real estate jail because you're kind of crossing the line there?
Sure. Yeah, all the disclosures that we have in real estate, if you own the property, you have to disclose that you're an owner or a part owner. Same apply in lending. We have RESPA to deal with. We have the affiliated business relationship disclosure. But the truth is, I think this, businesses these days are very interconnected, and there are a lot of joint ventures between real estate companies and title companies, real estate companies and lending companies. Long & Foster has been in all of those areas, including insurance, for dozens of years, I think. So, and other agencies are doing that too. So what's to stop an agent from doing it rather than a brokerage? And there's really nothing legally, but obviously disclosure is key.
So on the same topic, though, are you so you started this side venture of the lending business during COVID, so it's only a couple of years young then?
Yeah, it's 3 years old now. I started literally, LLC was formed Christmas Day of 2020, and it was not a bad first year. First year revenue, $100K. So my first deal was a $2.1 million sale, and the loan was $1.6 million.
Okay.
I had people in the franchising company cheering for me because that was a home run for my first deal, and we did a great job with it. It closed on time, and the rate was great. Rates were good then.
Rates were good, generally, yeah.
But as rates have gotten bad, and also jumbos, the big box banks are just kind of killing us with rates.
That's what I've been
compete with them.
Yep.
So we really can only close in this kind of $300,000 to $800,000 loan value range to be competitive for the most part now. And that's actually the hardest thing about the job at the moment.
And the $100K, that was to you as an agent like owner, or that's like to the whole LLC?
That was to the LLC, so I had to pay the loan officer out of that.
Right.
That's your revenue. So
that was
the
revenue,
It's
and then
gross
also
revenue.
there were a lot of startup costs. So
yeah.
at the end of the day, my actual take home, if you can believe that, was $6,000 my first year.
No, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a brick and mortar? Like, can you go to an office somewhere and sit down?
We have divided part of our existing office, because I have my own office as a team, into a loan office. You do have to have a brick and mortar address.
Okay.
Yep.
No, so that's the loan portion, and you've got a couple other businesses.
Yeah,
that you've
tell us
ventured
more.
into.
Tell us what
I'll
the
try
David
to
Bediz
keep it-
world.
I'll try to keep it succinct. So in addition to this, I also realized I was leaving some money on the table by constantly referring out the property management to some of our trusted property management partners. And I knew the money was not great in property management. It still isn't. But I thought, okay, the idea is just build up enough doors to manage, and then eventually I can either create a very profitable enterprise by putting somebody in place to take my place there, or sell it to an existing property management company. And in the meantime, I'll get, a couple $100 a month from each property, or sometimes more. And I was also managing my own Airbnbs. I have a couple, one of the mountains and two of the beach now, and then I have a couple that I manage here for other people. And I'm literally doing this myself in addition to everything else.
Wow.
Brother, you sound like busy.
Yeah, it's all manageable because technology is great. I mean,
Sure.
I have an app that literally changes the door locks for every Airbnb the day they check in to a code that's sent to them, and it changes it out the day they check out, so that there's all the security issues are taken care of. So there's technology can help, and also I have a great team that helps me with all my little ventures. And then I also, during COVID, developed a game that I had kind of been thinking about for years earlier, and realized it was a fantastic idea for COVID when people are stuck at home. And I made an app out of it. And just as we were ready to launch, everybody left their houses. COVID was over. It wasn't really over, but it was there was no reason to be stuck inside anymore. And so the app doesn't really work when people are out and about, because you have to have 3 players, and people basically have to be kind of stuck in place to play. So
Did you ever launch it? Did you ever get it off the ground?
it's in the Apple Store. It's called Friendship the Game. You can go to friendshipthegame.com. It's a really mean game. It's basically you and your friends trying to dig each other as bad as you can, to just get under each other's skin.
So it's like Mean Girls.
It's Mean Girls.
Right.
That's-
Awesome.
Oh my God.
It's really fun. I don't know how fun it is for everyone I've made play it, but it's fun for me.
Hey,
and
I'm getting depressed. from
I
playing
know,
the game.
right?
Sounds like a drinking game.
It's
like,
good,
right.
yeah. So I'm trying to actually now get it as a board. It's a much better board game when people
Sure,
are not
yeah.
stuck in their houses. So I'm looking to little game companies to see if they'll partner with me, because I don't really want to do all the work myself.
Extremely entrepreneurial. That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah,
extremely.
kind of annoyingly. So my partner is probably annoyed at all my little side ventures. So
Any other side ventures aside from?
yeah, there's another one.
Yeah.
One more. So you guys both know this, but this clear cooperation policy that NAR has come up with, I would say it's a bit of a harebrained scheme. They ostensibly say that they are trying to promote cooperation between brokerages by forcing everyone to put a listing in the MLS as soon as you have the listing agreement signed, right? Well, what it's done, because there's this enormous loophole that says as long as you advertise this only within your brokerage and to the clients of your brokerage, you don't have to ever put it in the MLS. So what it's created is these silos of offline inventory. And each brokerage has their own kind of collection of off-market properties. And some brokerages have really leveraged this well by creating their own online MLS just within the brokerage and giving access to their agents to use it. But a lot of brokerages don't have the resources to create that sort of website and inventory and do it correctly, so they don't violate the rules. I think you guys have your own. I'm not sure, but if not, talk to me, because I got a product for you.
Right,
So
okay.
this product basically allows for any brokerage of any size to have their own offline inventory of coming soon or off-market properties. And it has photos and a map search, and it even emails you when a new listing is input into the system, and it texts you as well. And it has a portal for agents and clients as well, so that you can essentially kind of, as an agent, it'll help you get business because you have access to some properties that can just literally show people right then and there, to compete with some of the other brokerages in our industry.
So this is an app that you've created?
It's a website that's also mobile friendly. Yeah, it's called privatecollection.com, and we had to pay a lot of money for that URL, but I think it's a good one. And we're only releasing it to KW brokerages right now. The idea in the future is it might be something that we can release to other brokerages too.
So KW is using it?
Our local office is using it right now. Yep.
Okay.
We're also going to expand it to, Bo has a partnership agreement with a company in Texas that has 10,000 agents, and so that's next.
Wow.
And it's also, by the way, it's free for agents and brokerages. It's just funded with advertising.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that is a little disjointed. Not saying anything like to the negative about our brokerage, but certainly every company has their private inventory because that's what the sellers want, right? Of course. But it's not like a totally functional thing. It's not like a home snap when you're just on the run, right? I think Compass might be one of the better brokerages at this. That's one of the products they kind of sell to their agents when they're recruiting.
Yeah, they put it on bus stop ads too, to try to get clients that way. And ours is as functional as theirs. Ours has an additional component, which I think makes it better, which is social. So there's this entire part of it that looks like a Facebook feed, and it has the listings as new posts, but also allows you to comment, apply, ask more information. It becomes a public dialogue that is only within your brokerage. So it really helps the brokerage form these alliances and connections that are deeper, because I think we all feel a little disjointed from our brokerages compared to how we were like 10 years ago. We don't really go to the office anymore. We don't talk to agents as much on a personal or even on a business level, only when we need something.
Well, it's just hard to keep track of everything too. I mean, if it's not right in front of you, like immediately, like in an email blast that you just got or an Instagram post or the MLS, then you there's no database, then you're not going to see it.
Yeah, and one thing that I like about it too is even if they change this policy, which does not look like it's going to happen, I have my mind in a million places at once, as I think you can gather. And when I meet somebody at a party or even a new client and they say, well, I would really want to be in this area and I really want this type of house, but I haven't been able to find anything, I'm just thinking like, I know somebody who bought there. I have a client that bought there 10 years ago. Maybe they'll sell. I've talked to somebody about selling in this neighborhood, but I can't think of it, that quickly. I don't have photographs on the fly. This allows me to put a listing like that in there, even if it's just private, not even published to the other agents. And it creates like a little inventory of things that just are possibilities. And it even has photographs too. So I could literally pop it up at a party and show somebody, hey, well, would this meet your needs? Because if so, I can talk to the owner.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. And then I was looking, I think it was a couple of weeks ago on Top Agent Network, it's amazing, but it's kind of gone downhill with the new rules. But you could put in a property, 1330 New Hampshire Avenue, the Apolline, and then it'll show you the buyer needs from other agents across the board. To they have a buyer in this price point looking in this location. And to me, it's a wonderful tool.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually approached Top Agent Network before I started investing a lot of money into doing this. And they said, that's a really good idea, but we just don't want to do it right now.
Right.
And I even have talked to that contact since then to say like, well, now I have it. Do you want to talk about a partnership? And that I don't know why they don't want to do it, because I think it's a huge need. And like you said, their website doesn't do as much as it used to.
Right.
Their product doesn't feel as valuable at all anymore.
Correct. Yeah. But some of the functionality of it, we've incorporated into our website, emulated in some way.
Okay. It is funny though, not funny, but if you do put it coming soon on Top Agent Network and you don't put it in Bright, sure enough, Bright catches it and they'll send it to you within a day. This was in Top Agent Network, but it's not in our system. Here's a $5,000 fine.
Right, $5,000 is the first fine, and the third fine is dismissal from the system. It's pretty austere.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this, not to put you on the spot, though. You've got this product that obviously there's a need for something. You're like, I'm going to create something. But what is your thought on the rules that Bright has in place, and in terms of is trying to protect the consumer so that everything is in the MLS? But what do you think about all that?
Oh, I think it's great. I think the policy is well thought. It was well founded, and there is a need for that, because there was a lot of pocket listing action going on before. But what it's done because of the loophole is actually made that all that activity much worse. It's done everything that counters the basis of the policy. It really makes brokerages, kind of have more meaning than they used to in a way. Like we used to all work together in a much more cooperative way and didn't really matter who worked at which brokerage. But now, like, if you're in a neighborhood that's controlled by one brokerage and they have all the off-market listings, you're literally never going to know about them before they're under contract or sold. And that's exactly the opposite of what the policy is supposed to do. So I've actually been fighting the policy from the beginning. I created a Facebook group. I tried to get everyone all excited about it. People were just so busy and COVID was happening that I couldn't get enough people to be as upset about it as I was. So I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them. And so now, I have a financial interest in the policy continuing, but I also have this kind of righteousness aspect where I still would like that loophole to be closed because advertising within a brokerage it goes against.
It creates
the whole,
unfair advantage.
It totally does.
Legit unfair advantage.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's not just one brokerage. Like it depends on which neighborhood you're in. Like if I'll say it, Compass, has control of one neighborhood, that's where they're going to have an advantage. If Sotheby's has a control of another neighborhood, that's where they'll have the advantage. So, it's hard to get people upset because sometimes they're benefiting from the advantage and sometimes they're not.
Right.
Well, I think the brokerages are benefiting. I'm thinking this fall, and fall's only 3 weeks young here, being after Labor Day, but I've lost 3 clients this calendar year because of that reason exactly, because a firm had control of a neighborhood and they kept saying, what do you guys have coming? And then you get on one of these portals and Compass is great at it. They'll keep pinging them with here's our coming soons. Next thing you know, they're like, I'm just going to go buy this house off market with this agent. So it's, we've lost 3 deals this year with buyers because of that.
We did a little research. It's hard to do, a full assessment because not everything's public, but we looked at all the sales that Compass had in the past 2 years that had a days on market of 0, 1, or 2 before it went under contract, assuming that meant it was probably an off-market deal. And of course, it's not always correct. We found that less than 2% of all of their sales were days on market count that low. And a lot of the ones that were off market actually were between Compass agents and other brokerages, which means they were actually probably talking to each other against the policy, which frankly, I'll say it right now, I would do too.
Right.
As long as we don't get caught, because I honestly think the policy is that bad.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother topic as far as you ratify the deal off market, yet the agent still wants street cred. They put in MLS. They won't answer the phone for 24 hours, and the next thing you know, it's under contract.
Yeah, it's a really perverse kind of knock-on effect of a badly thought through policy.
Well, it's only amplified too, especially at this point in time because of the extreme low inventory. We're all battling each other for less inventory right now, and then buyers are also battling over less inventory, especially for the resale stuff. So it's like it makes us all look a little weird. It does, right? Yeah, it does, and it really distracts in the marketplace from the things that really clients should be looking for. They should be looking for agents who have hustle and that work networks and connections and really try their best and have the most experience. And instead, it just reduces us to brokerage A, brokerage B, brokerage C. It's not fair. You shouldn't be losing clients because of which brokerage you're at. You should be losing clients if you're not calling people back and not networking and not showing houses because you were late for the appointment.
Yeah, there's the other side of that equation, right? Like some student of the game would be like, well, you should have had a buyer agency agreement signed for a year, and you should have been calling these agents. It's like, whatever. Maybe that's true.
But I have to say, I am a little schadenfreude. It seems like you always get listings, especially in my neighborhood. It kills me. I'm like, you had 2 on my block. Like, I'm looking at your signs across the street. I'm like, does this guy ever lose a listing appointment? Does he ever lose a client?
A wrestling match or a boxing match.
Arm wrestling.
I know you guys definitely compete.
You're doing like an Elon Mark Zuckerberg thing?
Totally. MMA match right there.
Pivoting here, like coming back full circle on the real estate side of the business, can you kind of walk us through the makeup of your team? Because again, we started about the same time, and I think you were with someone else at the very beginning, and then you've kind of parted ways and now doing your own thing. We can cut this out if need be later, but kind of walk us through like the makeup of your team. Yeah,
it's one reason that I was so excited to join KW is it's a it's such a team-focused brokerage. They started the concept of promoting teams decades before any other brokerages were even allowing them. Coldwell Banker was not thrilled with me having a team because of the financials of how, the splits worked and all that.
Right.
But KW was like, yes, start a team with us, be an empire builder, maybe you'll own a brokerage someday. I mean, they really have you on this track where if you want to keep going to the next level, you can. I did figure out that like there's some things I just don't want to do. There's some things that I am happy to sacrifice. So I don't think I want to start a actual real estate brokerage anytime soon. But the team is a great vehicle for success for yourself, but also to help other people. I'm sure you've experienced this, but you can't serve the needs of all clients. Buyers take up, we love our buyers, of course, but they take up a lot of time, especially when you want to be with your family and your friends, weekends and nights and that sort of thing. So
You're saying past tense, so you're not working with the buyers anymore?
Well, no, I'm saying, me?
Right.
You definitely do, right?
No,
you
not
don't work
really.
with buyers anymore? Okay.
No.
All right.
I do for
Max is taking referrals.
I do for close friends and for my A-list clients, people that are and of course if somebody's like, hey, I think I want to write an offer on this house, can you show it to me? I'm like, yes, I can do that.
But you're not staying in an open house and some person cold comes off the street and says, I'm thinking about buying real estate.
No, I
great
generally
agent for you.
don't do open houses.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So no, I really value my nights and my weekends.
Just put ammunition in his pocket right there.
Sorry.
It's like, that you're hiring David? Yeah, he doesn't sit on his open
I
house.
know.
I'll be there for at
That's
least
why we
10
got
minutes.
those two signs across the street.
Future sellers, shush. Future sellers, please don't watch this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No, the truth is, the reason I don't do it is, I have to set boundaries for myself, and everyone chooses those boundaries for themselves. But also, importantly, this is the important part, I have a fantastic team. So the buyer agents and also have listing agents on my team too, but the agents on my team are so experienced and so hardworking and so thoughtful and so smart, and so I innately trust them to do as good a job or better than I would do myself at the open house. We of course tour all of our listings as a team so that I can tell them everything that I think is an important thing to impart to buyers. What I find is that my buyer agents and my agents that would host the opens are finding things to talk about that even I didn't see. So like,
Of course.
I think one thing we have to get away from in this business is that it's not all about me. If I have a team of people that I can trust, that means that you have a team of people that you can trust, and it doesn't have to be me at the open house.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do just as good a job. You're going to get just as much money. Now, I do handle the negotiations for all my own listings, of course, and I do a lot of the follow-up as well, but the team helps with that too. So
Tell us about the makeup of the team. Like how many people?
it's about 10. So I have like I think it's 7 or 8 agents, and then my chief operating officer, Lindsay Kaiser, has been my work wife for a decade now. This year, and she's incredible. She's fantastic.
So what all is she doing as a chief operating?
Well, I've tried to rein her in because I want her to do things that she likes doing and that she's best at. But the truth is, she's best at everything that she does, and she also, whether she likes it or not, wants to do it rather than giving it to anyone else. So she kind of takes control of everything. She does all the contract review, she does all the marketing, she helps with all the event planning, and she does even the one-on-ones with the team members. So she takes a lot off of my plate, and she seems to like it. In fact, we had a retreat. This is one of my biggest lessons as a leader. We had a retreat a few years ago where the whole team, we had about 13 people on the team at the time. The whole team was a bit kind of at odds. Nobody was really happy. It felt like people were not happy with me, and I could feel that. And so we actually had a retreat, and we hired a facilitator. And basically, the gist of the retreat was, we don't want David to do the meetings anymore. We don't want David to do the follow-up anymore. We just want David to go out there and sell, get more listings, get more business. That's his job. And I'm like, that's all I want to do. The team meetings or the one-on-ones, where honestly, I love you guys, but sometimes it's just the same, talking about the same thing over and over, what you can do to build your business. We've all heard it, door knocking and mailers and phone calls and whatever, and every week we're talking about the same thing, and I'm doing it times 10. It got under my skin. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't feel productive. So now she does that. The team is rocking and rolling. Like everyone's in a great mood. We have a great dynamic.
Real quick on this retreat, I'm thinking about for our team now.
Yeah.
We love our team. Everybody's
Yeah.
doing great, but like the retreat, did you go like to the Nemacolin? You having a coach and they talk to that person one-on-one, and you get the feedback like we don't want David to run the meetings anymore?
It was really an interesting day. It really was. We did it right here at the Marriott Wardman Park. There's a big party room there. It started off with typical kind of retreaty things, little games and stuff like that. And then I think the facilitator kind of just dove in and was like, so what's on your mind? What do you think can change? And a little bit happened, couple little comments and then more comments. And then he was like, you know what, David, why don't you go get a cup of coffee and we're going to talk. And literally I was like, okay, that's weird. And
grab a tissue box and walk out.
No, I was okay with it. It did feel weird, I have to say. Right. And they dismissed me for a lot longer than I thought. But when I came back in, they had this proposal. And I mean, it was a little bit weird because it was this combination of ego blow, like, I'm not as good at being this leader as I thought, or as good at running a meeting, or as good at motivating people as I thought. But also it was this huge relief. It was like, this is what's been simmering under the surface the whole time. And also, I'm free.
They already had a proposal for a solution. You're like, cool.
It was actually wonderful. And I have to say, like, that is this just really striking moment in my memory of like having just this kind of epiphany as a leader. Like, it is not all about you. If it's about you, you're not a good leader. You have to literally find people that you can trust and then trust them.
Yeah. Right. And I think consumers across the board, if you don't want to do something, if you don't want to show the house, if you don't want to be there in the one-on-ones, that'll parlay. And it's not that you're not an effective leader, because you could do it like leading in other areas. But if you don't want to be there for those certain things, it's like, it's a win-win for both parties.
It really is. And it has been. I think that was like 5 years ago. It was before COVID. And we haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been thinking about this kind of stuff lately too. I'm not technically the team leader of my team, but
this is going to be great. I can't wait to hear this one.
No, I just
everybody knows who you work with.
Right? No.
Jonathan,
This isn't about him. It's about me, because I do a lot of like the managing of the team. I mean, Jonathan's out there doing his Jonathan stuff, and then it comes back to us, and we're like, okay, we got stuff to work on, right? Yeah. But I end up doing a lot of the management of the other folks, and it's like, I started thinking about this the other day. I'm like, what do I even like to do for real? And it gets, the list gets really short all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And most recently, like you were talking about, you want to spend more time with your friends and your family and have like nights and weekends to yourself, and not be like running around in rush hour showing, right?
Traffic has gotten so bad.
Right. Right. So you have to find the right people who are motivated to do that and can do it like with the same kind of like energy that you once had. Mm-hmm. And then
we're all getting older,
about
aren't
that. We? Right. Yeah, it's true. Right. I mean, there's only so much of this you can take.
Well, that's another reason that I also branched off into some of these other business aspects, is because I realized that there were parts of real estate that were actually affecting my mental health, like dragging me down. And this year has been very challenging for other reasons too. But one of the things that has made 2023 a pretty rotten year for business for me is I've just encountered, some clients that have either taken advantage of your time or been outright rude and just pretty awful. So I've had a couple, and they've been just toxic. And the nice thing is, as agents, we can fire our bosses if that becomes a real problem, and still not like have to look for another job. You're just losing one deal. But it's even hard to do that, because you're kind of giving up. You've invested a lot of time and energy in something. A contract could be right around the corner, and you're throwing it away. But sometimes you just have to do that. And so, getting into other businesses was my idea of how to minimize the way that was affecting my psyche a little bit.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think that it's also just a product of the market. When things aren't going up, and buyers aren't busting down the door of a listing, sellers can get frustrated and anxious, and they take it out on us.
For sure. There was definitely a nice little era there, like between the end of 2020 and the beginning of 22, where everything felt like a home run, especially for gentlemen like us who've been in the business a while and really we're set up and primed to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, things change. It's a market.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we had our best years ever, 21 and 22. Even with the slowdown in mid 2022, it was still our best year ever. And then 2023 is like less than half. I know you're doing okay, but
I think across the board,
a little less.
The stats are showing that people are down 30%, whether it's the agent teams, firms, what have you. And it's not just local. No. It's a national phenomenon that's going on right now. And it'll be interesting to see what happens for the next 12 months. Agents that got in the last 3 years that were flourishing are now like, is this really what I signed up for? I had a 6-figure job and now I'm making 30,000.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to segue to here is you mentioned some other things that are challenging in your life. I don't know if you want to kind of dive into like what else is kind of going on in your life that's challenging.
Try to keep my composure here. My mom has cancer. She got diagnosed end of last year with the glioblastoma, which is the same brain tumors that John McCain and Beau Biden and Ted Kennedy all had. It's only 30,000 people in America get it a year. But it does seem like it's actually a lot of people that you've heard of, including other people in our family too, distant family.
Is your mom local?
Yeah, well, she was in North Carolina, and I'd always wanted to bring her up here anyway because I love my mom and wanted her to kind of retire closer by where I could, spend more time with her and also, keep an eye on her as she gets older. But she's only 75. She was very healthy, and she just had this drop foot, which is like dragging your foot behind you a little bit, getting it caught on the curb and that stuff like that. And she told me about that in a conversation. I was at the Diplomat with some friends, including a doctor, and she called me, and it was an odd time to call, so I actually answered it at the table. And she told me about drop foot, which I had never heard of. But my doctor friend, like instantly, like his eyes lit up, like, whoa, it's a sign of a neurological issue. So it could be a stroke, it could be tumors, it could be other things. So I went down there the next day, and we got her into an MRI, and we found it. So
how's she doing?
She's had 10 months now, and it was a really bad progression the first 2 weeks. She went from just a dragging foot to not being able to walk, and then losing her arm, and then at one point she stopped kind of making sense, and I was freaking out because they weren't doing anything. It was really annoying that they have this system. They have to do a biopsy. The biopsy is a surgery. They have to schedule it in advance. It's not like an emergency room thing. It's like we'll do that in 2 weeks. And it's like, no, she's literally descending as we speak. Every day is different. Every day is worse.
Is she here in D.C.?
So we brought her up here. I had to sell her house, I prepared her house for sale, got it sold, and then moved her up here, and now she's at Sunrise on Connecticut. So, yeah, it sucks. I mean, she's a very vibrant person. She loved to talk, and now her latest condition is that she's lost the ability to talk, which is very frustrating for her and for us because it's what she loved to do. And, if you can't express yourself, it's, you feel like you're in a prison in your own body, So.
And it's just you two, or do you have...
I'm an only child, and in the course of all this, my uncle from Holland, my only remaining uncle, came to visit her around New Year's, and it was a very nice visit. And he died of a heart attack in March, just completely out of the blue, totally healthy, rode his bike everywhere, just instant. It's just incredible. It's like, how much more can we deal with?
It's really difficult. Because we're all at this age where it's like the people that, that we've only known as being thriving, and it's like their health becomes extremely fragile. Like my father is 80, and still he's out there doing stuff, but you don't know when that time is coming. No. And you got to savor those moments. You really got to,
for sure.
You can never plan for the unexpected. I think people on the podcast that have listened to my story before, it's like both of my parents passed in dramatic fashions where my father died of a massive heart attack. Like you wake up, everything's fine. Wake up in the morning, your mom's screaming, and what happened. And then my mom had the opposite, where she went through colon cancer, and like she was in stage 4, all that jazz. She beat it. Then it came back with a vengeance, like 6 years later, and to see her like kind of suffer like for years. I saw the tale of two tapes. But regardless of which way someone goes, you you can never prepare yourself. But it's good that you're getting to spend some quality time with her now. She's close by.
We've treasured the opportunity to spend time with her, or time together. But in her condition right now, it's really hard because she's starting to kind of lose connection to reality too. So,
well, we're sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
And just hope that she feels as good as she can when she can.
Absolutely. That's the primary goal, is just to make sure she's comfortable and know that she's loved. And luckily we have some family friends nearby that are angels that come by almost every day. I'm there almost every day as well. And just even if I'm just there to work, I'll just work next to her and watch TV with her, because we can't really have a conversation, or I'll just try to tell her a story.
I want to switch gears again because I was looking at your home snap this morning, and it's on your sheet here. You have basically you're doing Front Royal all the way over to Rehoboth.
Yeah.
So you had quite a few transactions in Rehoboth. You have a beach place that you get away from, or two?
Yeah, so March 17th, 2020, 2 days after the DC lockdown, we closed on a little cottage in Rehoboth for like $620,000. It had been on the market for 6 months. It had 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, this big yard. It was close in. And I went there 3 times, even with friends. And I'm like, what's wrong with this? Why is nobody buying this house? And even my friends were like, well, it's kind of old and it's kind of gross. And And I'm like, well, I think we want to make a move and buy it. And so we started talking about buying it 6 months prior to actually closing, and finally ended up closing just as lockdown was occurring. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm literally about to buy a house and I'm about to lose my business. But, I've gone through a lot real estate wise over the years. And my dad, he had 76 properties at one time in Greensboro, all very small, working class, like kind of $30,000 houses, that sort of thing. And he didn't manage them very well. You can't manage 76 properties on your own anyway. But he lost like half of them to foreclosure. He also affected my credit for 7 years because 3 of them were in my name. He just stopped paying the bills on it. So I couldn't buy a house for 7 years. This is why I was kind of anxious to buy something, because I was just kind of coming out of that. And I realized that, like, even if my business fails and the whole world goes to hell, I can probably end up still keeping this anyway. We'll see. And I'm a risk taker. So we did it. And it was like it was the best decision I think I've ever made financially, because timing was incredible. That house, even in the state it was in when I bought it, and during COVID, could have sold for double. Right now, we've renovated it a little bit. We had we did put in a pool. We put a lot of money in the backyard. It looks great. We didn't change the house very much, just superficial stuff. But with the renovations and stuff in the pool, it's probably worth almost triple. I mean, it's just insane what prices are like there. So that was a big deal. And then we were there fixing it up ourselves. My mom was there for 6 months helping, because I was worried about her getting COVID. And I was like, we could actually do some business out here. So that's why I started doing a little bit more in the sales side there. And I'd already bought a mountain house in Front Royal and done a couple deals here and there in Front Royal.
So which one do you prefer, the beach or the mountain?
Well, it's a good question, because I do love both. We have spent a lot more time at the beach because we are 2 blocks to Dogfish Head Brewery. Nice. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's just so much fun. And it's also really laid back, relaxed, pretty, nicer weather. I mean, the mountains are great, but we feel a little isolated at the house there because the closest anything is half an hour. At least.
That's why you have a mountain house, though, right?
Correct. Yes. But I'm not good at that. I'm not good at just
I don't think I am
unplugging, And for a little while we had DSL. We now have Starlink, which is a little
much
bit better.
Right.
Yeah.
Any travel tips for our people that want to cross the Bay Bridge that go at 4:00 in the morning on a Wednesday?
I've only had one bad traffic experience in the past year getting to the Bay, to the beach. But we do tend to travel at off times. We can travel on a Monday morning versus Sunday afternoon, that sort of thing. So yeah, just 1-877-BASE-SPAN is the phone number to call, or look on the website.
And then real quick, the business you're doing out in Rehoboth, is that people that it's cross, like from DC?
Yeah, It's
buyers or sellers?
Mainly DC folks.
Right. Okay.
I tried to, I did some mailers in Rehoboth, tried to kind of get on the radar with people there. It's a bit of an insular community. It's hard to break in, and also it's a bit of luck too, because a lot of the owners live in other areas, so you can't really get to know them face to face. It's just all through mail.
Are you still with Keller Williams in Delaware?
Yep.
Okay, so same
different.
broker,
It's actually a different brokerage because KWCP does not have a Delaware license. Right. Yep. I've been watching the podcast, watching and listening to the podcast for years, and I was always like, I wonder if I'll ever get asked to do that. So thank you.
We had a lot of people who wanted you to come on the show, so
really?
we don't. We think of people that have good content, and then there's also like people that will ping us like, "Hey, get so and so on the show," and then we start getting more requests of the same person. It's like, well, we better ask so and so to come on.
That's sweet. That's nice to hear. There is one thing, I guess, that reminds me of. I got asked to do If You Lived Here, the PBS show on WIDA, and that was such a fun experience. It was last October in Adams Morgan. I got to talk about Adams Morgan, which I know very well and have a lot of personal affinity with and history, and got to know John and Christine, the hosts, pretty well. And we hosted a watch party at the Duplex Diner for the entire crew. It was so much fun. And then John got pancreatic cancer this year and died in 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
The host.
Wow.
It's just incredible. Yeah. Not to end on a down note, but I just wanted to give a shout out to him because he was just such a wonderful person, bright light, kind of a regional celebrity too.
Yeah. Well, David, loved having you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down today.
Appreciate it.
And as always, Brent's got some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh boy.
5 easy questions.
Okay.
What are you currently binge watching?
Let's see. Oh my God, I forgot to look these up. What if I just watched it? Oh, sorry. Painkiller for one thing.
Oh,
That's
that's really good.
The whole
Very
OxyContin
good.
thing and Dope Sick just
I
gets
gotta get
me
that going.
so riled up. I can't stand it.
It's
So
very depressing, and especially I'm
It's
from like
awful.
rural West Virginia. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole. It was
supposed-
very
it's the
depressing
home,
for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But both those programs were really well made. I loved Michael Keaton and Dope Sick, and I thought they did a really good job of highlighting how bad an issue that is.
It's the same doctor, right? It wasn't like whoever Matthew Broderick played in.
It's Sackler.
It's
Sackler
Sackler,
Arthur, Sackler.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to see that name is being removed from buildings all
buildings.
over.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite restaurant in DC?
Oh, good. I think I'll still go with Pearl Dive. I love Diplomat, of course, but whenever given the choice, we go to Pearl Dive.
Who would play you in a movie?
Oh my God. Well, I was always told growing up that Anthony Michael Hall looked like me, or I looked like him. I'm not sure if we look like each other anymore. I always did have a thing for Jake from Saved by the Bell, so I can't remember his name.
Zach?
Yeah, I was Zach. I'm sorry, Zach.
I know all Saved by the Bell.
Yeah,
I know all their real
Why
names
can't I
too.
remember
like,
I
What's
can't
it's Oster? What's his name again? It's something Dutch, isn't it?
it's Mark Gosling or Mark.
Gosselaar.
No, Mark Gosling.
Paul
or something.
Gosselaar.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, maybe Max.
Recall, brain recall right there. God.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Berkley. I know
Right.
all those people.
Wow.
And then the one guy, who was the guy that passed Screech?
Screech.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't he
He
die?
passed.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
Last two only because Taylor Swift's been in the news lately.
Uh-huh.
You're driving down the road. Your favorite song comes on. What is it? And you're
God.
singing as loud as you can.
We sing a lot of oh my God, why am I blanking on names right now? You might want to just cut this out.
Okay.
It's awful. I don't really belt this out, but like my go-to music choice on a Sunday morning is always Joni Mitchell, and we'll just play like all Joni Mitchell and have brunch. It's just the most relaxing, and it's just such a nice routine ritual. It's not a belting kind of thing, but that's kind of
That's good.
Sidebar question: do you have Sirius Radio in your car?
I don't use it anymore. I have a Spotify
Got it.
list. I am talented in many areas, but my number one fear in high school and middle school was people coming up to me and asking me who I listened to, because I have this weird mental block where like I can't remember lyrics, I can't remember the artists, I can't remember songs. Obviously the easy ones I can get, but like sometimes I blank. So I would always just say the Beatles, because honestly that was the
Easy fallback.
That was easy fallback. Yeah.
What type of car do you drive? Number 5.
I have an X5. I think you do too. Is that right?
I've had one
I think
before.
you've had one. Yeah, I've had 4 in a row now, which I know sounds.
So you got a new one?
Yeah, I got a new one, and this is the first car I've ever ordered, and actually, checked off everything I wanted in the car, and I got everything I wanted except that damn foot-powered liftgate thing. Where you put your foot under the bumper.
Yeah.
And I had it in my old car, and I miss it so much because
How come you didn't check that box?
To be honest, it was not my fault. I did ask for it, but you can't have that and a trailer hitch at the same time.
That's right. I know that because I have his old car, and I was.
Trailer hitch.
Well, I know because I took his old car and he ordered it.
Yeah.
And it has a trailer hitch, and I was like, I want to use this thing.
Yeah.
You can't.
I'm like, come on, Germans, you can't engineer
figure that out?
Like,
Right.
figure it out.
Right.
Scoot it over.
Like a sensor.
Right.
Come on, man.
What color combination did you get?
So I have to admit, I ripped off one of my neighbors, who's a friend of mine, because he drove up in this beautiful black BMW, and I never was going to get black, but it was just so nice. So I got the midnight blue, which looks black,
Yep.
but it also looks blue and light, and the oyster seats, the really pale tan.
Yeah, that's nice.
And those seats stay clean. I don't know how. I use my car as a truck.
Right.
I am moving stuff.
You're hauling dirt.
I will get out there and mulch my listings.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. See, I do get my hands dirty.
It's another conversation for the next podcast.
Yeah.
What else? What else are you doing out
That's
there?
his listing pitch against us.
Yeah.
I get my hands dirty.
I'll
You're
do
not
that.
getting
I'll
out
do
of
the
it.
I will mulch your garden.
Right.
I'm not sure about these guys. Yeah.
David, thanks so much for coming down today. Really appreciate seeing
Thanks,
you.
David.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.